Mighty Radio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this brand new edition of 5RoundMMA. My name is Alex Ramirez, alongside me, my ever-esteemed co-hosts Guillermo Cita and Albert Cita. Is it safe to call you guys Pokemon Masters now, or no?
No, not yet. Oh, but I did want to mention something to you guys is what happened to the Lakers Summer League Championship? Went down the drain.
Everybody said it was a big upset that Cleveland beat them in the tournament, and then they went on. They went on and lost, I think, against the Jazz in the consolation bracket. But it was very clear across the board that D'Angelo Russell showed that he is capable of leading this team. And you have to keep in mind,
not to a Summer League championship, because Devin Booker's doing that.
You have to keep in mind, they didn't have their big four. They didn't have Jordan Clarkson, so we thought that.
Julius Randle.
Oh yeah, let's forget all the professional basketball players that every other team is missing.
And we forget that they didn't have their head coach, Luke Walton.
Like every
coaching
other team.
them.
So let's say,
and I think that's a key thing. Wait till Luke Walton. If D'Angelo Russell is this good with the coach he had for the summer league, imagine.
Okay, so from last year, let's add 10 wins extra.
3 wins in the summer league equals to at least 30 wins in the regular season.
I agree. That's a good math.
So let's get to MMA. We've got a lot to talk about. In the weeks as we've been off, UFC is sold, or Zuffa sold the UFC. Brock has been flagged for too much beef jerky. Tony Ferguson may have emerged as one of the best lightweights in the world, and Michael Bisping's choosing his opponent. So let's go to start with round number 1, guys. The biggest news of the week broke late Sunday night, early Monday morning. Zuffa has sold its 80% share to the UFC for $4 billion. That's Frank and Lorenzo Fertitta. Collectively, they own 80% of the stock, and they say, you know what, we're done with it. Let's sell it. So they sold 80% of it to a talent agency, a group led by a talent agency, WMEIMG. Not too sure what those initials stand for, but
I heard they own everything.
Yeah. So, just your thoughts when you heard the sale going through.
I think it's good. I think it shows the marketability of the UFC, how big it's gotten so quick.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good thing. Hopefully we'll see more of a mainstream UFC. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Albert.
I was excited until they said that Dana White's going to stay on.
Yeah. Dana White will remain as president. Acting president.
So I was like, that sucks. I thought we were going to see some professionalism for once, but
ouch.
We'll see.
Yeah, so I guess Lorenzo, who has been the CEO of UFC, will step down. His brother Frank, who's not really involved with the UFC at all. I think he's more in the casino side of stuff, right?
Yeah, he ran the casino. The other brother ran UFC.
But together, there was Zuffa. They own all that stuff. So they're going to sell. I think Lorenzo's going to remain in for a couple months to a transition period. Then he'll step down. Then
it'd be interesting to see exactly how this is going to format out, like in terms of who's going to be in charge of putting fights together. You know, is Dana White going to be there long term? I mean, Joe
Silva, does he get a bigger role now instead of just matchmaker?
Yeah, or Joe Rogan, is he going to stick around? He said that if UFC will sell, he was going to step down or not renew his contract. So
yeah, there's rumors that the Fertitta players are trying to get into the NFL business, trying to get the Raiders over to Vegas, but that's conversation for a different point. So I think people were kind of excited that a talent agency, a group led by a talent agency that represents, I guess these in the past, they represented John Jones. They actually currently represent Ronda Rousey. They actually helped negotiate the deal between UFC and Fox. They're actually going to be in charge now of the UFC. So now people are saying, well, maybe now there'll be a little more fighter-friendly contracts, maybe bigger paydays for the fighters. What are your guys' thoughts on a talent agency, owning the UFC? It'd be kind of weird if, a talent agency bought, the MLB or NBA. Or a team, anyways.
Well, it's a slippery slope because you say they want to help out. Being a talent agency, you want to help out the talent.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this is a business. I mean, how are you gonna get money if you don't? If you give it away,
yeah.
You're not gonna be earning money. But it'd be interesting to see now, maybe a more global impact. I guess that's would be my guess that I would try to go for.
The big benefit I saw was the exposure level. I know before Dana White thought he was some kind of celebrity and he would have his celebrity friends, but come on, let's keep it real. He would mostly bring
Kevin James.
He mostly bring B-level talent.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but Kevin James and Wilder Valderrama aren't exactly on the A-list of Hollywood.
But I think with this talent agency, they're actually going to get you're gonna see some crossover talent like I mean, you don't be surprised if you see one of the guys from NBA, MLB, whatever, or other entertainments actually be in UFC from Raw or cross platform.
Yeah,
I think just if anything, this just benefits the exposure of the UFC. I think this agency can probably give it that.
Yeah. Well, look at what they did with Ronda Rousey. I mean, I'm pretty sure they helped her get on Entourage and stuff like that. So, I mean, hopefully it won't be too much of a favoritism. Maybe this agency will see the potential in a lot more stars. And as the UFC had their 4 favorite, and then they kind of push those 4 to the top. Maybe because this is an agency that's their specialty is seeking out talent and seeing the talent of people. Well, maybe this guy, he could be pretty good if you put him on a platform to succeed. And I'm not saying I'm an expert, in talent agencies, but I've seen every season of Entourage, and I've seen Ballers starring The Rock, so I think I have an insight of how talent agencies work.
The only thing that sucks is like the fight industry is different than any other sport, where like a sport you can have a bad season, but you're still a good player and you're still marketable. You don't have to necessarily.
Well, like Steph Curry, right?
Yeah, you don't have to necessarily win the championship. These guys, if they don't have a fight, a win streak, or a belt, I mean, you're pretty much not a star.
Yeah, well, like Steph Curry lost the NBA Finals, but is he any less of a star than LeBron James at this point?
No, the only thing that slowed down his merchandise sale was those ugly white shoes. So,
well, a good case is like, let's take some of the older guys. I mean, like a Wanderlei Silva. I mean, he was very, very popular, and since he's stepped down from the UFC or not, been so relevant, I mean, like, where is he? I mean, like, he's not as marketable as he once was.
Yeah, then maybe like those bitter feuds between Dana White and a personal fighter will get pushed aside now because it's a more professional atmosphere, as opposed to like the Fertitas. Let him do Dana White whatever he wants, and I don't like this guy, so he's out of the UFC, like Wanderlei or Tito Ortiz or something like that. So, but I think it's going to be not a big change at first, but I think we'll start seeing subtle changes.
I'll tell you what, if they can make Mighty Mouse a star,
there you go, right?
Boom, that's a good test right there.
All right, that's it for the first round. A good opening round, good filling out process. When we come back, I want to talk to you guys about Michael Bisping choosing his opponents for his first title defense. If you guys are cool with that, so stick around. All right, time for round number 2. So, the post-fight show, UFC 200, if you guys watched it on Fox Sports, it was a panel with Dominic Cruz, Dick Brandstan, and Michael Bisping. Dana White joined them, and I fielded questions about his reaction to UFC 200, and after that, kind of fielded questions from the fighters themselves. Like, I think Dominic Cruz asked about his potential for the super fight and the featherweight division. Dana White didn't really answer him. It's kind of, and then Bisping kind of offhand. So what about me? What about me, Dana White? Who am I going to fight first? And Dana White's like, well, you want to fight Dan Henderson? Fool, you're making that fight happen, so we're going to make it happen. So Dan Henderson is going to be Michael Bisping's first title defense. It's going to be in England, Manchester, England. And a lot of people are actually upset about this because you got your boy Jacare and your boy Mousasi waiting in line, who I think a little more deserving than Dan Henderson. But this is a fight. Dana White said this is a fight the champion wants, so we're going to make it happen. This is a fight champion wants. This is a fight the fans want. I guess the fans want to see it, but I'm not too sure. I mean, your thoughts on Michael Bisping facing Dan Henderson?
I don't think it's a bad idea. One, because I really do think Dan Henderson is pretty much out. He's pretty much out. He's pretty much out. He has one foot out the door, and win or lose, I think this is a good way to go out. I mean, and the rivalry is real. Let's keep it. I mean, the only way Michael Bisping can watch that replay or those highlights of him getting knocked out is by defeating Dan Henderson. And so it's going to eat him alive. And I like it. I think Jacare, Luke Rockhold, and everybody else are still in prime position for the belt. So the belt ain't going nowhere, but Dan Henderson is. So I like the matchup.
2 things. I love it and I hate it. I love it because one of the things is that if you're the champion, I mean, like, and you want to fight someone, or you don't even have to be the champion. If you want to fight someone, if someone wants to fight you back, why not make it happen? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. He wants to avenge a loss. I mean, he's like, hey, I want to fight this guy, Dan Henderson. I'm pretty sure, heck yeah, let me get on this.
Yeah.
So why not? But on the other hand, why have rankings? Why have these guys fight off? Or Jacare has gone through freaking recently through pretty tough competition. I mean, he had what's his name? The Cuban Yoel Romero.
He lost that one, but Romero got flagged for PEDs.
Yeah, but I mean, like, he's had tough matchups. He just fought Vitor Belfort, and Dan Henderson's. He's actually 5 losses. I saw 5 out of 6 losses.
It's like 3 and 2's last fight, 2 and 3.
And it hasn't been the best. I mean, not the very, very top middleweights. So for Dan Henderson to just jump over everybody, that's kind of unfair as well. I mean, like, put Jacare versus Dan Henderson. Winner gets freaking beat Michael Bisping. I think that's what Jacare would like to see. Or it's like, let me prove it to him that I can, be the champion or be deserving to be the champion.
Just to give some reinforcement to Guillermo, just to let you know like how unfair it really is. If you look at the rankings, Dan Henderson's ranked number 13th. That means he jumped over 12 opponents to get this title shot.
Is Tim Boach ranked higher than Ben Henderson? No.
No, Tim Boach is not there.
You got like Titus Latis in there. Tim Kennedy, for crying out loud, is still ranked higher. And he still hasn't fought yet. Derek Brunson, Uriah Hall, Lou Machida, Gregor Musasi, obviously, Robert Whitaker.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a ton of people he jumped over.
I think, obviously, if you go on social media, people still post that knockout of Dan Henderson at UFC 100.
Yeah.
So it's still there. But the fact that I mean,
for crying out loud, I think Dan Henderson's main logo is him doing the knockout on Michael Bisping.
I think it also looks bad because Bisping's not a fan favorite, so the fact that this is the fight the champ wants, so it looks like he's ducking. And then his antics after he beat Luke Rockhold wasn't generally help him out either. Like his kind of child's antics, and then I think
if anything, he's saving himself from other potential. I mean, how do I put it? Because now, what would you expect? Chris Weidman versus Jacare?
Yeah.
And so you eliminate kind of one of them instead of Michael Bisping. Hey, if he beats let's say Jacare, then the next fight probably be Chris Weidman.
Yeah.
And now instead of fighting both men, he's gonna fight one man.
We had this conversation like right after he won, like if he's gonna be a fighting champion or a running champion. It kind of seems he's gonna lean towards the latter because I forgot somebody called him out. No, get in line. I'm the champion now. I call the shots. Or I think when Luke called for a title shot, right? Or is it no? I call the shot here now. So that's exactly what he's doing. The UFC's letting him do it. So I mean.
Yeah, and no lie, I really think any of these guys can beat him. I mean, Luke Rockhold, Chris Weidman, Jacare.
Well, I mean, we thought Luke Rockhold was going to beat him again, but
I think he just got too cocky. I really think in the rematch, we'll see the true Luke Rockhold.
If it ever happens. Bisping's calling the shots. But
even Machida, I even think Machida can win this belt again.
How great would it be if like Dan just knocks out Michael Bisping and just rides off to the sunset?
Wow, that'd be awesome. What a good American story right there. That would be the first film done underneath this new umbrella that owns the UFC.
I think he said win was a draw after Bisping. I'm done. So we'll see what happens. That's it for round number 2. We're talking about round number 3 and talk about Tony Ferguson, the new lightweight contender. So stick around. Time for round number 3. UFC held a fight card in the middle of the week on Wednesday because there's like no sports, MLB, NHL, NFL is all in the off season. MLB was on the All-Star break. Everything else was on the off season.
Very random card.
Yeah, they said that. I think they promoted
very random, but very high action pack. I mean,
delivered.
This delivered. I mean, this is a great card.
UFC Fight Night in Sioux Falls, North Dakota.
Out of all places.
Main evented by John Lineker,
the hot spot of
and
MMA.
Michael McDonald. So it was an overall good card. But what I want to focus on was a co-main event between Tony Ferguson.
Oh my goodness!
And Lando Vandana. But just that fight alone was like completely.
Dude, I was doing backflips, front flips, side flips.
It was like 2 rounds.
And it was 2 rounds. I was tossing the couch. I was kicking air. I was like, dude, it was such a good fight.
I think I see it as a bad thing because Tony Ferguson shouldn't have been in a war like that.
But this kid, I'm telling you, I agree that I really thought Tony Ferguson could, if he looked better, he would have cemented himself.
But I think that shock value,
beast, dude.
But that shock value is what made that fight even more better because it was this whole underdog story of this guy that no one really knew about.
A replacement.
And then what Tony Ferguson expected to just bulldoze is not. And so I think, even him coming back from being rocked so many times, I think that even, fueled that fight.
Yeah. That when Tony Ferguson got knocked out, I mean, I kid you not, I was like, dude, it's over. Yeah. It's over. And I was like, dang, I can't believe Tony Ilkukui's going to lose like this. And I don't know what, I'm telling you, the Aztec blood was just still pumping. Dude, the fact that he was able to stay composed, knocked out, was mind-blowing, and he was able to grab the leg and recover. Dude, the fight was just amazing, and it was like tit for tat, and it was one of those good. And it even had the drama, I think, inside too, because I think at one point even Lando he got rocked and hit, and he's like, "Bro, just throw it again." Then it was such a good fight.
So basically, so Tony Ferguson composed himself after the knockdown in the first round. Yeah. Second round, a little more
technical.
It was still a bigger brawl, but
doubled up on the jabs.
Was able to get him down, get a Darce choke. So I mean, there's a thin line between, like, you don't want to be the guy who always gets awards because then you end up in the Leonard Garcia, Diego Sanchez category where they just put him on there just to any car. Where I think it's pretty clear Tony Ferguson wants a title shot. He wants to be considered the elite of the lightweight division. And this is a guy who's, I think, a kind of bad luck recently, right? I mean, for some reason, he was lined up to face Khabib Nurmagomedov. He got kind of this weird, like, blood clot in his lungs, so he had to, have surgery, so that pushed it back. And instead of rescheduling for Khabib, they give him Michael Chiesa for some reason. Just so Michael Chiesa called him out, and they're okay, let's do it. So then Michael Chiesa gets hurt. Now he fights Lando, almost loses. He comes back. So I think he should be the first man to face Eddie Alvarez for a title shot.
You're crazy. After this fight,
come on.
I understand it's a late replacement, but he should have bulldozed this opponent. He should have won easily. The thing, he took the opponent for granted or whatever whatever happened. He can give Veneta all the credit in the world, and he deserves it, but the thing, Veneta is nowhere to be found on the top 10 rankings.
Well,
but that's not first fight. He's undefeated other than this last bout that he lost. But I can guarantee you that Lando's going to be a top 3 guy in the lightweight division.
If we take the second round more into consideration, not the first round, we can see that he's still not there yet.
Well, he's a late replacement. I mean, who knows what actual training he was able to do? Maybe his stamina was.
But to be fair, Tony Ferguson, he should have won this fight. Hands down. When this fight was announced and before the fight even started, I bet you everybody thought that it was going to be a first round KO.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I didn't.
I thought submission.
You thought it was going to end pretty easy for Tony Ferguson in favor, right? So now we're giving so much credit to Veneta, which is fine because he did well in being a late minute replacement. But you're telling me this guy now deserves Eddie Alvarez after a showing from a guy he should have been? That's like, to me, either you do Khabib versus Tony Ferguson and really establish the number 1 contender and give the rematch to what's his name? He lost to Rafael Dos Anjos, or you put Khabib already up for the. And he experienced something like that, but it's the same because it was late.
He was coming back.
But wasn't he dominant?
So we go back to Tony Ferguson's last bout, which was against Vandana, and then Khabib's last bout. Did they both kind of, who blew you away more? I think I was blown away by Tony Ferguson.
But that's what I'm saying. They both have to face each other now. That's my ultimate answer. It's Khabib versus Tony Ferguson, hands down. Dos Anjos gets the rematch just because you got to establish who's better, Tony Ferguson or Khabib.
Albert, finish it up.
It should be Eddie Alvarez versus Tony Ferguson.
There you go. That's it for round number 3. We're going to take a small break and enter the championship rounds. Talk about Brock Lesnar and all that fiasco, and the UFC even cares if that guy even failed a drug test. So, should be fun. Do not go anywhere. Time to enter the championship rounds, round number 4. So, news broke early Friday evening that the man beast, man bear pig, the conqueror of streaks, Brock Lesnar,
the conqueror of streaks,
the one in 21-1,
has been flagged for a potential anti-doping violation by the USADA, and more news as it comes. This is 5 days after UFC 200, where he defeated Mark Hunt via unanimous decision. And this Brock Lesnar leading up to the fight got exemptions, the 4 months exemption, but he was tested total 8 times supposedly by the USADA leading up to the fight. The next day, Brock just simply said, "We'll get to the bottom of this." So, what are your thoughts and reaction to when you heard Brock Lesnar was flagged for PED usage?
I'm really upset. I'm actually really upset with the UFC. I mean, that's what happens when they got desperate. I mean, they called, I'm sure Brock Lesnar called Dana White, but they pursued that.
Yeah.
And come on, this guy hasn't fought in how many years? 5 years, he said?
Yeah.
And then on short notice to take on a very dangerous Mark Hunt. So for him, what would you expect for him to get into tip-top shape? I mean, even Mark Hunt after the fight, how the heck did that guy make the 265 weight limit? He looked massive in the fight himself.
So it could have been anything. The USADA does not disclose what was flagged. It's up to the camp and the fighter and his camp to disclose it if they choose to. So we don't know what it was. We don't know if it was some sort of could be even a fat burner or something like that. Because maybe he didn't lose weight to lose, get the 245 pounds. But Albert, your thoughts on Brock Lesnar?
Well, my initial thought is like you said, I don't want to really say anything until I see the full report.
Yeah.
Because when it always comes to these kind of things, I'd rather see the full thing to really judge. It could be something ridiculous as in he didn't know, with the whole John Jones
or
thing,
maybe an IV or
an IV or whatever. It could be stuff that people are already calling him a cheater. And in perspective, maybe it's not so much cheating, but just that he tried to make it like like a fat burner or like an IV or who knows, right? Yeah. So with that said, I want to keep my cards to myself when it comes to the Brock Lesnar.
He's getting this criticism because it's UFC fault. I mean, if he had the proper training camp, I mean, he wouldn't. And we don't know what it was. But let's say, example, fat burner or IV.
I think the criticism is coming because he's a WWE wrestler, and there's the stigmata of like you could say that all pro wrestlers are on something. Oh yeah. Right? That's the stigma that's with pro wrestling.
I mean, John Jones just tested positive not too long ago.
Let's keep it real. That's what everyone. That's why Mark Hunt said what he said. I don't think necessarily had to do with. I mean, it's just some kind of information that's out there that all these guys are juiced up.
Yeah, and the two fact. I mean, if you social media right afterwards, like Brock Lesnar tested you. Oh, you don't say. LOL. When you're
exactly.
They pasted in the video of Nate Diaz. I'm not surprised, mother effers, and people just laughing. I think Joe Rogan put like LOL what? Like
people,
nobody's shocked about this.
But you know what? People can say what they want, but I mean, like this guy just got a $2.5 million payday.
That's another big thing.
I mean, like he can take the vacation. I mean, literally, this is what it's going to be. He's taking vacation and he's running away with $2.5 million for a pay-per-view card that he pretty much sold himself after John Jones dropped out, after Conor McGregor dropped out.
I would say that too. If he is caught and it's positive, whatever, and he gets suspended for WWE, so what? He has $2.5 million,
and that's just the pay.
And then the wellness policy only kicks in for 30 days in WWE. He'll be back by
the best Survivor Series.
Yeah, by Survivor Series, he'll be there.
Yeah. I mean, like he gets his money. He can go back to Canada, North Dakota, South Dakota, isolation like he likes
train
it,
like a beast.
And with $2.5 million, he has nothing to worry about
on top of whatever he makes already from the WWE. Yeah, so that $2.5 million, which is already just for showing up, right?
Yeah,
that's not even like a win bonus or not even. Just the pay-per-view shares. I'm pretty sure he has in his contract. So I mean, if anything, they'll take away his win shares. I think with the Nevada. I think a pending suspension is already in place already, right?
But let's say he gets deducted a certain percentage. I mean, that's still a lot of money he's gonna get back.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks, but I think when I heard about it, I was like, okay, dang Brock, but I'm not really surprised.
Yeah. I think I got the same thing. Like, am I shocked? No. Am I bummed out?
And I think you guys are a little bit easy on Brock Lesnar compared to like a BJ Penn, John Jones. You guys were like hey, get rid of him. No. What? That's unacceptable.
Chad Mendes failed, and he was like, I own it.
Yeah, so you like Chad Mendes, you like Brock Lesnar, so you guys are a little bit easier on them.
We were kind of soft on Chad Money, man.
Yeah, you know what, Chad? You're coming up next round, Chad Mendes. We're going to tell you a new one here. That's it for round number 4. I got one more round, so do not go anywhere. Time for the 5th and final round. So we saw what Brock Lesnar did, but how about the people he affected in this PED? Not the fans.
No one ever talks about the victims. Always the one that did it.
Yeah. So
what about the victims?
And we are express ourselves, right? So how about the person that directly affects his opponent, UFC 200, Mark Hunt? He went on a tangent. I think Ariel Helwani interviewed him, got a phone interview, and said Mark Hunt said, if I don't get half of his pay. Brock Hunt's a $2.5 million pay. I'm going to walk him from the UFC because he said this is like the 3rd time I fought somebody who was accused of PEDs. Bigfoot Silva and then Frank Mir.
Frank Mir, yeah.
So I was like, I could have gotten seriously hurt here. This is ridiculous. If I don't get half his pay, I'm walking. I don't ask you guys, should there be more done to compensate the losers in these bouts other than just we're going to switch to no contest? Like, is that one less L on the win-lose column worth more than a payout?
That's a very because there's nothing you can really compare it with. I mean, like if you talk about other sports, it's team sports.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about, let's say, example of Barry Bonds or in baseball. Barry Bonds is freaking whatever record-breaking contract or whatever at the time was from the San Francisco Giants. Did he give any money back for testing positive? Or
he never tested positive.
He never tested positive, but let's say, or Alex Rodriguez, did he ever give a penny back?
No.
He was tested twice.
Yeah.
Did he ever give a penny back?
Canseco give anything back.
He had nothing to give back. Nothing to give back by the time he found out.
And I totally understand Mark Hunt's point, but I just don't see how Brock Lesnar, and I understand he could get hurt and everything, but I don't see how he can get Brock Lesnar's half of his money.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go as far as say half the money, but when a fighter doesn't make weight, you get 20% of their purse because you take the fight because they understand you're in a disadvantage, right?
Yeah.
So it does make kind of sense if a guy gets popped, whatever, and you lost that fight, you should get a percentage because you were in a disadvantage in that fight. So I do think he deserves a percentage, but to say half, that's kind of for the birds.
I know, obviously, well, they caught Mark the day after, so he saw Park still heated, so of course he's going to say that kind of
but I mean,
but I do think there should be a percentage.
A compensation.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing is that when you say $2.5 million and you say half of it, he's still getting a really lot of money.
Yeah.
Because even then, that's pretty.
You don't know Brock's bills, bro.
But when you're talking about some of the guys in the lower cards that you're making $50,000 off a fight, I mean, 20% is a lot. I mean, like you're pretty much fighting for free. I mean, but you know, that's the big difference is like Brock Lesnar's a big payday, even if you take half.
Yeah.
He's still what's that 1.25?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'm not an accountant, but we'll go for. I mean, like it seems like if fans, his loss is now turned to no contest. Oh, that's good. One less loss on his record, so all's right in the world. Well, no, it's not. Like you said, if I'm a fighter and like this guy's a disadvantage, I'm mad. But like I can't try to think in the Olympics, right? Don't they just take away their gold medals? But after the fact, right?
Yeah.
I mean. Albert, you obviously played a lot of years playing tennis. So I don't want to put that to the public.
Of course. Women's tennis.
Men's tennis,
there hasn't been any case for like a tennis player being... Do they even test, right? Or
I think that I want to say there's testing.
Yeah.
But the last time I heard someone get caught with something was it was like years ago.
But did they take away their Wimbledon
Maria Sharapova?
Yeah, something like that. Or
Maria Sharapova was probably like the last one. But no, they never even mentioned about her other wins.
Or everybody she beat on the way after she got. Did they get their wins back? Whatever. So I mean, hopefully this maybe just start something new where if you know. Like Tim Kenny's always been a big proponent of it. Hey, I fought all these guys. Well, even Michael Bisping too. I fought all these guys who are now
Vitor Belfort on.
Vitor Belfort, all that stuff. So maybe now a little more compensation for these guys who are on the losing side of these guys who fail a drug test.
I think it should just be same approach you take if they miss weight. You had a disadvantage for the fight, and guess what? It was the other guy's fault, not your fault. So you have to pay a percentage to the other fighter.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, it sucks for Mark Hunt. Think about it. Tim Kennedy. Think about Michael Bisping. They probably would have been better off in terms of record-wise.
Compensation-wise. That's the thing we have to bring up. If they win these fights, they get more money.
Yeah, they get a win bonus.
Yeah. So in reality, they should be compensated because if they would have won the fight or they could have won the fight if the guy was on the thing, he would have got more money.
And Michael Bisping might have had a title shot years ago.
It all comes down to Michael Bisping, doesn't it?
And Tim Kennedy might have not lost to Yoel Romero.
Yeah.
Tim Kennedy might be a
lot of people
top
might
contender.
have not lost to Yoel Romero if Yoel Romero. Like I said, a lot of people wouldn't have lost to Vitor Belfort if Vitor Belfort wasn't on TRT.
So that's for today's show. Got about 10 seconds before the round's over. But Michael Page, Venom Page,
man,
rolling the Pokemon balls after he knocked out Cyborg Santos.
I guess he just wants to make everyone a freaking big fan because the knockout alone, I was like, that's awesome. And then he does the Pokemon stuff. Dude, I'm sold. He got me.
Hey, Ronda Rousey started the movement.
Yeah, also coming up this Saturday, July 23rd, UFC on Fox in Chicago, main evented by Holly Holm and Valentina Shevchenko. Holly Holm's first fight back since losing to Misha Tate. Should be good to see her back in the ring. Also, Gilbert Lenders comes back from being suspended for, was it pot or was it?
I don't remember.
PEDs. Pot or PEDs? What's worse? I don't know. I guess Edson Barboza is another big-time lightweight matchup there. We spent the whole round talking about Tony Ferguson, so I think Barboza's in the mix too now. So that's it for today's show. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. That's at FiveRoundMMA. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, and please visit FiveRoundMMA.com. A big, huge thank you to all of our sponsors. First with Rocking Green Eco-Friendly Cleaning Products, the 5 Rounds Clothing Line, and of course the RMA Foundation, Redemption Martial Arts. You can also check out this podcast on the podcast page at FightBookMMA.com. Good friends of ours, awesome MMA, just all MMA all day page. So it's a great website, FightBookMMA.com. And I think that's it. Albert, what do you got?
I just want to say that the WWE draft on Tuesday might be too sweet.
And check out the Cruiserweight Championship. I really like Grand Metallic. Oh, yeah, the cream of the crop. And Daniel Bryan's not a good commentator.
What?
I liked it.
No.
You are now listening to FRMMA Radio.